these two have cameras or not? Okay, because we gotta figure out how to do the Zoom court thing. So I guess I can come in here, do it on one of these. Yeah, you should be able to. You should be able to. That's the attachments won't show. Okay. If we're logged in, we can see try to look at the public fields. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Our decision doesn't need to include those words.
22nd. It's tomorrow. Didn't I say 23rd? Yes, but I want tomorrow. Oh, that's the one that's not showing.
So,
I haven't heard from him. So I'm assuming we'll leave Val.
I call to order the McLendon-Chisholm Board of Adjustments meeting on Monday, February 22nd at 7 a.m. If everyone will please stand for the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item number 3 is citizen comments. If anyone is here to speak for or against, we'd ask that you do that in public hearing and not in the citizens' comments. So we have none. So we'll move on to item 4, which is approval of the minutes from the December 7th, 2020 Board of Adjustments meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
yes.
I would entertain a motion to approve. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed by unanimous consent. All right, we will open the public hearing at 7:01. The board will receive comments regarding the request of the Keiffer Living Trust, landscaper, requesting a variance to reduce the required street frontage from 300 linear feet to 248.09 feet, a reduction of 51.91 feet, for the creation of a 7.5-acre lot located at 4047 West FM 550. We will hear from staff first.
Madam Chair, Mike Coker, City Planner representing the city. We've reviewed the application presented by the Keiffer Family Trust and believe that a variance in this case would not be disadvantageous to the city, and we've recommended approval subject to compliance with the conditions that I've listed in your plan, which is basically that they'll be obligated to replat the property. And as I briefed you just a little bit ago, when they replat this property, they will be restricted to the 248 feet of frontage as a reduction of 51 from the 300 feet that's required. The code does not specify whether or not that 300 feet has to be contiguous. So in this case, using the entire, because it touches base in two different places around the 2.5 acre tract, and you can see that on the graphic that's at the back of your briefing packet. When they are obligated, if the board approves the request, when they are obligated to replat the property, because it's currently one platted lot, to replat it into 2 lots, the zoning for that district requires a minimum lot size of 2.5 acres. And the way they've designed it now, it's 2.5 acres, that smaller lot. But because the thoroughfare plan requires a minimum of 100 feet of right-of-way, and we only have 80 feet of right-of-way, we get half of the deficiency off of each side of the roadway at the time a plat, for instance, comes available. If they were asking for a change in zoning, I could do it then. But we want to be able to, at the end of the day, when the Keiffer's Family Trust replats this into the 2 lots, that there's sufficient flexibility on the interior of this 2.5 acre lot to still have 2.5 acres, because I don't want them to come up with a lot that's not conforming. So with that, if the board's decision is to approve this request, that you only approve the variance to the street frontage rather than anything else.
And that is the only thing we are being asked to approve.
That's correct, ma'am.
Is the frontage, okay.
Because all that platting stuff comes, if the board says yes, then the Keiffers will have to replat into 2 lots, and both of those lots will have to comply with the requirements of the zoning district that they're in, which is ag.
Okay, any questions for staff?
I have one. Is it necessary for this property to be divided in order to build a second home? We've had cases where two homes were built on a single designated property.
The code says that a platted lot shall have only one single-family detached residence on it. In this case, there's a 10-acre lot, and I believe there are 2 houses out there today. If the board grants the variance and the Keiffers are obligated to replat, that will satisfy then the requirements that the city have for 1 house per lot.
So this is single family.
Yes, it's ag zoning, but ag allows single-family on 2.5 acres or more.
Any other questions for staff? All right, Mr. Keiffer, would you like to address the board? Any questions for Mr. Keiffer?
I do. Is this going to be,
If you'll please step up to the microphone and hit the button till the red light comes
Testing.
on.
I don't know if this is working.
is this property pair going to remain a family entity? In other words, is there any concern about having to sell one or the other and having a house in close proximity to the other?
Currently, it would remain in the family. I live in that back house that's shown on there now, and that front house is currently zoned as a guest house. And so by dividing it, we can make it a primary residence, and then my brother would live in it.
Thank you. That's all I have.
So I have a question along those lines. Is your brother is going to live in it? Are you going to deed it to your brother to where it will actually be 2 deeded different, or will they be under the family trust?
We're actually going to deed it into our individual names separately.
Okay. Okay, any other questions for the applicant? We did not receive any neighbor responses back, yes or no? Okay. All right, I am going to, 7:07, I'm going to close the public hearing and go back to the Board of Adjustments meeting. Item 6.1 is discussion and action regarding the request of the Keiffer Living Trust requesting a variance to reduce the required street frontage from 300 linear feet to 248.09, a reduction of 51.91 for the creation of a 7.5 acre lot located at 4047 West FM 550. would entertain a motion either way, and then we can discuss. Okay, I have a motion to approve the request as presented. Do I have a second? Second by Val. All right, discussion. Any other questions?
There's not sufficient frontage between the two lots as it is to get to 600. So it falls about 20 feet short of the requirement for both lots to have 300 feet. The center lot, the 2.5 acre one, which Mr. Keiffer is saying is the guest house, that's the one that has the larger 330 feet maybe of frontage. I think they would require a reduction, a variance, irrespective of whether the other one had 300 feet, because it's still 20 or 30 feet short of the total distance.
You did understand that it's just the line along the highway that's in question.
And Mr. Keiffer, you did understand about this, the subdividing and the process you will have to go through with the right-of-way? Okay. All right, any other comments or questions? I call for a vote. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes by unanimous consent. And with that, our business on the agenda is done, so I will close the meeting at 7:10.
Well, I think that was maybe a record.
That wasn't weather related.
So, Luke, you'll need to get the surveyor, whoever you're deciding to use, to prepare the subdivision relatively consistent with what you've got, except for I'm going to take 10 feet.
So I do have a question. So first question is, because it's already required, I just want to make sure what I'm supposed to do.
Yes, yes. Whatever the length of that permit that we have today, let's say it's 570 feet. So 5,000 square feet. Well, at the time when, I'm going to tell you what I think, not what I know, okay? When the county, in this case, or the state, decides to widen it, because right now, it's shown on the thoroughfare plan, both the city's thoroughfare plan and the county's thoroughfare plan, as a 6-lane undivided road collector. Okay? What they do is, at the point in time that they're ready to take it, to use it, and they generally come back and they relocate your pipeline. Especially if it's in the right. And I'll tell you what, when we're making, when doing the final plat, I'll write it so I'm not happy.
That's really what I'm concerned about, but I just figured out. We like recommend with that 7 feet mark, but also
something to it, then we'd be back here. I'm trying to keep it from having to come. I know that you like it, but, well, you weren't here the last time we had a meeting.
They're not always nice.
No, but, and I'm gonna help you through this. My objective is to make this as painless as possible, but still protect the city and parts of the county that I'm obligated to protect. That is, when it's on the thoroughfare plan and it says that I don't have enough right of way, my objective is to get the right of way, not to take the whole 80 feet. In this case, the whole 20 feet, because I'm 20 feet short. To take a half off your side, and then that other side of the street gets done. We've had lots of people talk about that property across, downhill from that bridge. I'll get the rest of you on it. At some point in time, then the state or the county is going to, or the city for that matter, is going to widen that. And the way things are going, Keith and McLendon-Chisholm and incorporated parts of the county, having 7.5 acres or close to 7.5 acres is nice.
So what I need to do is just make sure that I have my surveyor address that, so that I have the full 2.5 since that's the other one just maybe slightly more.
Correct. Because the largest piece is the piece that's on the 2.5 acres of frontage. Yeah, and whoever you're going to use the same people that did this stuff, right? They talk to me, they know that I've given them, we get to this. And the sooner you do this, I think the better it is. So, get it done. But it's not an emergency.
I've got a quote from them already, so I just was waiting on this coming in.
Okay.
I guess.
All right.
All right, so well, I very much appreciate your
Yes,
help.
sir. Look forward to working with you. If I wake up, they're all good.
See you sailing. That's the way to do it. Tomorrow night we go like that would be awesome. Somebody tells me it won't be 10 minutes tomorrow.
Well, you've got stuff that's going on until the middle of the night.
Yep.
Now, I'm planning to leave as soon as choice is done.
That's fine. I don't think they'll do anything with the pumpkin and stuff except talk about it in there and then give me some kind of direction to do after.
Did everybody respond?
Yes, just three of you.
Good. Right?
We'll see you again tomorrow.
Yes, you will.
I wish Rosie's was a little closer for you. We just don't know.
Well, especially if we can get the